Alright, so who's ready for another fun-filled shift at whatever the hell this company is named? I know I am. So, let's cut the bullshit. Let's just go ahead and launch the game. Good to see you, Faber. Welcome to the stream. There it goes. There's the window. That was strange. Alright. And once again, we're gonna enter this. Apparently, doing this every time actually is relevant to the game. Yeah, we're going through the motions. Completely accurate. I should know. I do not like how you worded that, Mr. Video Game Dude. Alright, next time I boot up the game, good to know. So yeah, apparently, allegedly, there's something that I can only see if I just so happen to keep booting up the game. So we might be doing some of that this game, this session, so try not to get too irritated with me if I have to do that, will you? I have a nice, understanding audience, don't I? They're completely fine with that, right? Alright, let's see. Yeah, it's wild, but it's the Stanley Parable. All kinds of hoops that make you jump through. And it reset my control lines again. I don't like how I have to do this every freaking time, but... Alright. Because again, as we've established before, I am an ESTF man. None of that WASD bullshit. I like the extra keys.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah, my beloved bucket. Unfortunately, I got a bit of role-playing to do. If you recall, the last ending we got, we had to leave the bucket, let it go on without us. Don't want to ruin the dramatic tension there.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his... This was not the correct way.
I'm feeling
to the
defiant
meeting room,
this time.
and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first.
Fuck this narrator. Screw him.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
So, spoilers, we're doing an ending that existed in the old version.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten
most likely a couple of them.
Here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Sure he ain't, buddy.
Investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
I know already.
Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
Ring,
you
ring.
need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her.
Alright, let's reach out. Fuck it, why not? Very white.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you
I
had a
don't like
loving
this.
wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
I don't think so.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
So, alright. I don't like where this is going. Creepy mannequin won't let me walk away,
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Oh, so we're going for one of those endings, huh?
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
I don't like this.
Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures.
Oh, so we're going for one of
From
those
behind
stories,
his
huh?
desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands.
So I'm gonna be level with you guys. I fucking hate stories like that. The ones that say, oh, you need to face reality. No escapism. Escapism is for losers. I fucking hate stories like that.
About his own job.
And you get the feeling that authors who write stories like that are just trying to make everybody as miserable as they are, in which case, fuck them in the face.
Everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
So he went further.
I'm not listening to you anymore.
He came to 2 open doors, and that he
Gotta be that guy. Gotta bring everybody down, huh?
Last choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something.
I mean, maybe they do, but
too wonderful to
in my experience, there have been incredibly few stories that have actually fucking pulled that off without seeming like preachy.
Down one path lay an enormous round.
I do not care for preachy stories. Don't like them.
And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby, and he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head...
I will say, this is actually pretty cool effects that they're doing right here.
And again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be?
Get it over
Perhaps
with.
if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has.
Yep, 100%, 100%.
The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets.
And I swear that's become significantly more common the last few years.
And I'm trying to tell him this.
Just
that in this world,
really seems that a lot of authors seem to be
as long as he remains
getting
here,
high off of
he's
their own
slowly
supply
killing
nowadays.
himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Yada.
Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Yeah, I can see that being the case too,
Faber. The way
Faber.
I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended
Not really,
purpose, the same as
not much
Stanley.
anybody can really do
But
about
not so
that, though.
different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again.
Yep,
And Stanley
that's about
pushed
what I
a
should have
button.
expected out of you.
And
You know what? That ending made me a bit uncomfortable. I want my bucket back. Where's my bucket?
all of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so
There we
magnificent.
are.
Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded onward.
My beloved bucket. Nothing can go wrong when I'm holding this lovely thing.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I'm feeling so nice that despite how much of a dick you were being to me, I'm going to go ahead and obey you, Mr. Narrator Man. Nothing can go wrong with the buckets.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever.
Correct.
Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again
Yeah, we know.
to discover not an indication of any human life.
Let me in.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Sure, the
Was
bucket knew. We'll go with
guiding?
that.
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Going down. I wonder if there's a quick save option. That'd be pretty convenient. There's a couple of endings I'm gonna get from this juncture right here.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him,
Yes, exactly.
reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Correct, correct. No quick save. That's inconvenient. Guess we're doing things the hard way.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
I don't think so. Let's, find our freedom. Bucket. Bucket-chan.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
You're bluffing. I can't die. The bucket would protect me.
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Quit bluffing. We both know you're full of shit. Give me a break. Come on. Geronimo! Okay, this is looking uncomfortably familiar so far.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be.
Aye.
To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself.
He's being
He sort
that
of
way
kicked
again,
himself
huh?
for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere.
You question
Farewell,
me.
Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant,
Okay, a lot of
the
deja
bucket's
vu
life
here.
came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death.
Okay, this is new. What's this way? Never mind.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest.
Right, because
It was
it's my
a
bucket.
glorious bucket to behold.
Now we're getting someplace new. More new content. The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You're standing at the precipice of knowledge. Much like a bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and rich and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were, in ignorance and darkness? We all know the answer to that. Onward. Let's see what the bucket has to say for
Can
itself.
you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own?
What?
Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
I mean, I can't deny that, but jeez. Some relationships are just like that. Sometimes somebody is just plain better than you. But they just like having you around. It's what matters. Xavier, welcome to the stream. Pleasure to see you. You came at a great time. It's time for you to learn about buckets. 2 handles. Fascinating. Yes, it's time. This is the sort of mind expansion that everybody must experience at least once in their life. The Inferno bucket. No one can control a bucket. Yes, that's right. They give you warmth, they give you comfort, but, much like a fire, you must respect it, understand that it cannot be controlled. Buckets predict the existence of mankind? Okay, that doesn't look right. Okay, jokes aside, yes, this...
No man can own a bucket.
Don't interrupt me,
Certainly
miss,
not a bucket
please.
as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Anyways, like I was saying, yes, this is new content. This was something that was not in the original version of the game. The hanging bucket. Let's see, I don't think I want to go down that way quite yet. If I double back... Yes, I want to keep going. Okay, I think it was back this way. Yeah, there we go. That I haven't seen yet. The stress bucket. Presented without commentary. Worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of reassurance. Coping strategies. Yes. That actually is pretty deep. That does seem like it would be good advice to take. Alright, so I think that's everything the museum had to show us. And I think I know what they want me to do from here. Because we've come to that juncture. What? It's a glass floor. That makes sense. I thought for a second they wanted me to jump down into that hole. Okay, well that's unfortunate. Wait. Yeah, I can take my bucket back. Beautiful.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
And that would be... not
Let
this again.
Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't
Brilliant.
reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall
Give me
take
a
his place
break.
as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
So yeah, it turns out she's not much better than the usual narrator. Everybody's so judgy. Oh, it's too good for you. Let it go. Find something that suits you. Fucking assholes. This is like my home kingdom and my fucking preference for elves all over again.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Well, now I'm feeling spiteful.
Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace, protective yet delicate, assertive yet compassionate.
This is my
Stanley
bucket.
cuffed the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Alright, so again, it would have been nice to quick save because there was an ending not too far
Still
away
no
from
one was
where I
here.
entered that one.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now.
So,
more
speedrun
than ever.
time.
Perhaps
La
his
da da,
boss's
just
office was
skip
where
to my
he-
loot,
coming
just
to a
keep going.
staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Keep it going. Onwards.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley
Yes,
was once
yes.
again stunned.
2845,
to discover
come
not
on,
an
let me in.
indication of any human life. Crushed by, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it
And
the
here we are.
bucket all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes.
So,
this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Those of you prone to motion sickness might want to close your eyes for the next 5 minutes or so. A lot of up and down movement happening here. We go up, we go down. Up, down, up and down. A movement that I'm sure we're all very familiar with. So we're down, we go back up.
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want
Was
to go
there?
back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
It doesn't have to say anything. It trusts my judgment. She trusts my judgment, I mean. It's Bucket-chan. That's right. So, double back. Back to the office.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Well, he said, the number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always
8.
felt such a connection
There we
with the
go.
bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
So yeah, it says they want me to press 3, but pressing 8 over and over again should give me an achievement. I don't believe it did last time I played. I heard the clip. I heard the voice clip. How many times I gotta do it?
8.
No wonder. Maybe that's a problem. I keep hitting 0 by accident.
8.
Fuck it. I'll be back here in a moment. So, back down.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
Many such cases. Sometimes a significant other just has hobbies you don't get, and vice versa.
A hint of regret nagged in the back of Stanley's mind. Should he demonstrate the number 3 for the bucket again?
Yes, he should. So back up we go.
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
Precisely. Sometimes it just takes some persistence. If... Oh, shit. Okay, it told me that I lost connection for a moment. Well, nothing too bad happened, but in any case, like I was saying, sometimes you just need to be a little persistent with them. Sometimes that just makes them understand.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument,
Totally.
waving a concerto of truth and passion.
Exactly.
He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3. Stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. And the whole time,
Correct.
he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all. Only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
As you say, Mr. Narrator Man, I'm feeling unusually obedient, despite how much of a dickweed you were being to me in the first couple of endings.
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator.
Right.
He knew that
Exactly.
there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
I mean, there's gotta be. There's a reason we're going up and down, doing this back and forth toasty-do. Mashing a button I don't actually give a shit about. Okay, so I believe going up one last time is what I need to do.
Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart.
Exactly.
He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over.
Exactly.
He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
Huh. So far that's the only thing different. So, one of the gimmicks is that once you discover the bucket, every single,
This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, this is mostly the same as, every ending has basically a normal variation and a bucket variation in this version of the game. So, so far this is pretty similar to the, non-bucket variation, except for that and that. Other than that, everything looks pretty similar. Which is funny because a lot of other endings...
There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less.
This was significantly
Neither
sadder
wishing to
than I was
obvious
expecting.
That any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit. Only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
So, yeah, sorry for the downer there. But that's just how some of these are. You know what?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Let's find something a
Stanley
little more
decided to
uplifting,
go to the
huh?
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two
Disobey.
open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Just briefly.
Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, I didn't.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Welcome to the stream, Thunderbird. Thank you for the
Really
lurk.
hard. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you.
Alright,
all
let's
this
see.
time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. What? Really? I was in the
Sweet.
middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
Kind
Why,
of.
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look,
Do
let
you
me
now?
prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
No.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Alright. I'll humor you.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that
Something
it's
seemed off about this
Stanley?
hallway to you guys.
I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just
Getting
stopped.
dizzy.
And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Very dark.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes.
Ah.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy.
Wow.
I actually feel happy.
Trippy. Man, if I did weed, this would be the perfect place to hang out. I wonder if the developers would get mad at me if I tried to use this for a music visualizer. Yeah, see, look at this. That's actually pretty cool looking. Very nice looking. I dig it. That said, I don't think I'll mind if I explore a little, Woody.
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
I'll keep him happy just this once.
Good, good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here.
I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but I've got people watching me, dude. They might, want to see something a little more, well, something even more stimulating than this. Funny, I talk about doing weed, and here we go. We're at the green section. Sort of makes me wonder just how much, now some red. I just wonder how much variation they put into this. Like, how long they expect you to actually sit here. Because again, with this game, you just never know. They do put ungodly amounts of effort into even the smallest little details, so hard to tell sometimes. Wow, I like that image. Alright, this was nice, but off to business. Sorry, Mr. Narrator, we're about to make you, we're about to make you real sad, Mr. Narrator. Sorry.
No. What do we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here. You heard me before, didn't you? You will die! What about this isn't getting through to you? Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Hey, what goes around comes around, Mr. Narrator.
Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing. No!
Geronimo!
Oh, thank God. You live. No. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me.
Hey.
I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Oh, so you get to troll me with impunity, Mr. Narrator Man, but if I decide to have a little, silly fun myself, you try to make me look like I'm the bad guy. I don't appreciate that. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. Motherfucking jumping Stanley Flash.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
Yes. Yes, I can do it for you. I can do that for you. Just so that...
Yes. Perhaps you can.
Yes.
Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about.
Sure. You tell yourself that, Mr. Narrator Man.
You'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
Yes. Well, you can't be happy if I leave this place. You can talk about how much you enjoy taking my joy away from me. But I think I need to make you understand, Mr. Narrator Man, that sadism is a two-way street. You cannot expect me to just sit there and take it if you want to put me through misery and subversion. Misery and subversion. You can't just do that to me over and over again and not expect me to gain a little resentment for you after a little while. And that's why we're bouncing back and forth between these areas.
No, perhaps not.
Yes, you're getting it, Mr. Narrator. I learned from the best in this situation. I was taught...
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it?
That's a bit of an
You're literally
oversimplification.
willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy.
Now that's
Am I
nailing
reading
it.
the situation correct?
One more time. Bring it home.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it.
That's
I don't
correct.
know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Damn right, Mr. Narrator. I will say, this Kevin Brading fellow is a hell of an actor. Like, just listen to how sad he sounds that I'm doing this.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Yes. It's going to really restart. As a matter of fact, this would probably be a good time to, it'll probably be a good time to reboot the game. Just because I'm curious how many times I gotta do this. How many times are they going to make me shut the game down, start it over again? There we go. Aww. Oh, that's just like my pets. Yeah, wow. That's much appreciated, Savior. Thank you for that. That's amazing. Wow. I don't know what to say about that. Thank you. That seemed like a bit of a trick. You saw that there were 9. I like that word better. You got it. I won't touch it. Yes, I do. Yes? I don't know. Plenty. There's a lot I haven't told about. Sure, you want help? I'll give you help. Just tell me what I gotta do. Yes, I will. Alright, here we go again. Let's just go ahead and jump in. Let me think. What haven't I done?
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Sorry, give me a second. We know how the story goes. Let's see. Ah, I know what we're doing now. Shit, I forgot about this again. So yeah, bug. If you use a custom keybind, it will reset everything every time you play the game. Irritating, but fortunately this game has a simple enough control scheme that it's not a complete nightmare.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Whoops.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Buckets on.
Stanley's bucket. The only co-worker he would ever truly need.
Exactly.
Stanley clutched the
I
bucket
forgive you
tightly
about
to
that,
his chest and entered the door on his left.
I completely forget. It's probably a bug. They'll probably patch it out in the next little while or so, but in any case.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever.
Yes.
Perhaps his boss's
I
office
completely
was ready
forgive
for
you.
it also. Coming
Buckets
to a
on.
staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I completely forgive you for that little debacle with number 3.
Stepping into his manager's office,
I don't even like the number
Stanley
3
was
myself.
once again stunned to discover not an
2,
indication
8,
of any human life.
4, 5.
Crushed by the weight, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew?
That's
all
strange.
along? Was
In the
bucket
bucketless
lying?
route, if you keep
Yes.
cutting
This
off
is
the
certainly
narrator,
most logical explanation.
it'll actually speed it up. He'll stop forcing you to enter the number. He'll just open the door for you automatically. That's something you have to do in order to get an achievement. I won't spoil which one, assuming you don't know it already.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting
So,
him,
speaking of new
reassuring
content,
that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
correct, exactly. Everything will be fine.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Yes, indeed, I did. So the next thing I'm going to do... Up and over!
But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below.
Yes, they actually give you an ending
He
for it
fell
this
directly
time.
onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall. Now,
Good old
what
bucket
to do
on.
next? Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here.
Correct.
So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here. A bit cold, perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis.
Bananas.
But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home. In
I mean,
fact,
that's
after
swankier than
some
my own
time,
house.
Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all.
Right.
He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility.
I wonder who this is.
This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this.
Okay, this is
The bucket tried to reach
surprisingly
out to him
eerie.
again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending.
Pity we already did that, huh?
This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground.
How meta.
The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happened, and maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually.
It sort of is, though, isn't it?
It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
How long? That long, apparently. Alright, so what next? I'll spoil what happens in the bucket list variant of that. A silly song. That's all you get, though.
All of
So,
his
off we
co-workers were
go.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Alright, gotta check something, let's see. So I have accomplished a lot of what I meant to do. Okay, so I think I've, yeah, I've gotten just about every ending by this point. So, really not much left to do. So, I think we'll just exit the game again. Boot it up again, see what the guy at the beginning has to say for himself. On and off, on and off. That's how it works. Sometimes it's just all you gotta do. And there it goes again. Yeah, what? Oh, Raid, Ori Lamori, pleasure to see you. Welcome to the, welcome, alright, gonna need to shout you out. Let's see. Ori Lamori. That's not the command. There we go. Sorry, I kind of blindsided that. Ah, that explains a lot. Fellow Stanley Parable player, I see. Makes enough sense. Although, I assume that means original Stanley Parable, so, we're playing the update, so, if, I'd say if you don't want spoilers for that, I would advise, I mean, I still appreciate you coming by, but, thank you, but, oh yeah, whole lot of philosophy there, so, thank you very much, alright, good to know, thank you very much, appreciate that a bunch, yep, just what I do, like a day job. Job over, huh? Still, how deep? Welcome to the stream, Kit, Furin, and, thank you, I appreciate that, very kind of you to say. Alright, as well, greet everybody else, let's see. Strategic games, etc. Risk it. Hot dog, Chelsea, thank you all very much. Pleasure to have you all here. Do I need to know you, though? I do know what time it is. I gave it to you already. Gee, I never would have guessed. Define alone. One more setting, huh? Alright, alright. So that was enlightening. Ah, that's new. Alright. But before we do that, so for those of you just joining us, game has a bit of a silly early glitch where it will not remember any custom keybinds. Which, thankfully, isn't as big of a deal as it could be, considering that there's a grand total of 5 controls. Alright, Epilogue. So I guess that's a big spoiler here. Epilogue. They foreshadowed this a few sessions ago. Let's see what the Epilogue has to say for itself. Many, many years later. Oh, wow. That's real in-depth. Desert. This would be familiar if you hear, this should be familiar to my regulars. This is from another ending. And yeah, absolutely not. I mean, I do use traditional QWERTY, but I am an ESDF man. I don't like WASD, I like ESDF. For, multiple reasons. Ooh. Fire. Fire, fire, fire. What the hell am I saying that? None of you are gonna get that. Very pretty visuals, though. There's just something about the desert at night that looks very nice. So I do know, oh my! Yeah, I know what you were getting at. Also, I'm getting kind of a Journey vibe from, this specific, hold on. I was getting drowned out a bit. Yeah, that last scene, combined with the music, really gave me a Journey vibe. The game Journey, not the band Journey. The band Journey I'm actually familiar with. The game Journey I've only seen playthroughs of. Ooh, the sun. Let's walk towards it. Let's see what's going on there. Never mind. Okay, that looks familiar. Well, familiar to me. For those of you who have not played this game yet, probably not. This is new, though. Power generator. And yeah, category says Ultra Deluxe, but surprise, we're playing Stanley Parable 2. It's a sequel. That sign is blank, it's not usually blank. A very survival horror area we're walking into here. Bit of an eerie vibe. Totally fair, enjoy your dinner, thank you again for the raid. Pleasure to see you. Hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much. Ooh, what's this? Cookie 9. 2027. Wow. How harsh. So again, that was a name that was dropped in another ending. Ooh, buttons. My name is not Jim, it's Cliff, but I appreciate the thought. I wonder if this is an actual site or just something they made up. The word sorry appears more than 25 times in the press release. Oh, I'm sure we all know plenty of people like that. The people who say sorry is like their go-to sentence filler. Jim. Let's see. Which way do I go from there? This way. That pretty looking thing. More figurines, so mind if I do. Mine. $25... 26 out of 6. Brilliant. They're all mine. Going literally down the rabbit hole. Office. Well, thank you for giving me the new content. It was much appreciated. Oh. Didn't think that would happen. Yes, pleasure to see you after 5 minutes or so. It's nice to see you too, sir. Is it, though? Yes. I mean, I'm sure a few people think it's sacred. Yeah. Sure, your franchise. What do? Sure, whatever you say. 3. Fascinating. Dumb sub... Yeah, I can, I love loud and gaudy. I can dig it. Stanley Parable 3. The Revenge of the Content. I dig it. Yes, it is absurd. I love absurd shit. Advance by 1. Pick a new subtitle. Brilliant. I can dig it. Even better. Right. Yeah. I love this plan. Yeah. New sequel every time we start. Broken achievement? Right. I can dig this. I love this. Yes, the end is never the end. That's the whole, wheel in the sky keeps turning, exactly. And for the current time, it is, 2:02 p.m. where I am. Adjust the slider until the computer is barely visible. That's how it works on my screen. Yes. Enjoy it some more. I can dig it. Let's enjoy it some more. Yes. Nice. Even nicer. Alright. So, to show it off to my new viewers. Skip the intro. I'm sure you've already seen that.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Hello, Bucket-chan, my beloved. Let me introduce you all to Bucket-chan. She's the best friend a person can ask for. My light, my warmth. But unfortunately for what I want to do, I gotta leave her behind here for right now. No, I don't.
Is Stanley without the bucket really Stanley at all? No, surely not.
I agree. And look at this, how convenient. I can show you all the new content right here.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Let's see what it's about, Mr. Narrator Man. So yeah, this should not look familiar to any of you here.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Right.
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
Sounds about right.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
All correct so
reimagining
far.
The game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content.
I do not like needles.
Expands the world of the Stanley Parable.
God, I wish I could skip this part of the ride.
World over. Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
So in we go.
I've just now realized that bucket you're holding, it's the bucket I've been working on for my sequel. How did you get your hands on it? Isn't this the preview to the sequel? How do you have the bucket already?
Good question.
This makes no sense at all.
I'm sure it's not
Hold
that big of a
on.
deal.
Did I already show you my ideas for the sequel?
No,
I
never.
don't remember doing that at all. You're seeing things all out of order.
Pardon? Yeah, that's right, I forgot that.
All right, let's see, it's the jump circle?
And I can't jump. So the joke was, it had a limited number of jumps the first time I was here, and apparently it just remembers if you use up all your jumps. Never lets you do it again. How unfortunate.
The infinite hole, the giant door, did you see them already?
Never.
Stanley, none of them are ready yet. I'm still developing them. They're not even close to finished. How did they look when you saw them? Were they captivating? Were they exciting?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The promise of everything that a sequel to Stanley Parable could possibly be? Had I figured out how the hell to make a sequel to this game?
All fantastic questions.
Wait, if you're still carrying the bucket around with you, if the bucket is interesting to you, that means I must have made it correctly.
Correct.
Yes.
Sure.
You carrying the bucket with you everywhere is exactly what I set out to accomplish.
Sounds like,
the bucket
sounds
is the
right.
exciting and captivating new content that I promised. I did it. I win.
Yes.
I made a sequel to the Stanley Parable. Yes, the sign is correct. Thank you for enjoying
Great.
the new content. Thank you for taking the bucket everywhere with you, clinging
Sure.
tightly to the bucket, never letting it go.
Right.
It means I've won. It means I am victorious over the gamers. It is a sweet salve of victory on my soul.
Brilliant.
Thank you for enjoying the new content. The bucket is the Stanley Parable now. They are one and the same. There is no Stanley Parable without the bucket.
I'm inclined to agree.
I win. I win. I win. I win. I win. I win.
I'm glad to hear you're happy about this. So, off we go again.
All of his
We
code
should see
was
that same,
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yep, the door's there again.
As Stanley lifted his bucket, he felt a connection to all buckets everywhere. This adventure, he decided, was for all of them.
Sounds about right. If we have any bucket VTubers out there, pardon? Okay, it's a... Okay, that's strange. The second time around, it's supposed to have a bunch of crazy neon signs. Oh, never mind. I guess it is the right thing after all. Yeah. See, the first time that door opens a second time, that doesn't make any sense, but whatever the case. I'm used to a big neon sign being there is the bottom line. And it wasn't there that time. The poster for the expo hall, on the other hand, is supposed to be there. Off we go again.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be.
I don't know,
The
I thought it's been pretty
original
lit.
Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further.
Okay.
Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
I mean, it's not quite that simple,
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Does that sound about right to those of you who only saw the first game? Is this what you wanted from the second
Stanley
game?
Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
So yeah, this sound exciting to you guys? I mean, it hasn't lost as much magic the second time around as I thought it would, so I guess that's how you know it's a good sequel.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
QR code. So, if anyone happens to, have a phone on them that they can scan a QR code with, I'd appreciate it, because I wanted to watch it, I wanted to see it the first time, but the problem is, I'm using my phone at the moment, that's why you can see me moving around. So, you know what, I'm gonna step away from the computer for a minute, I sort of have to do that, so, please be a pal and scan that QR code. While I get up for a moment, I will be back momentarily. Alright, pardon the interruption, I'm back. Oh, and that's all it is. I suppose I should have predicted that, but would have been, See, the funny thing is, in context, I thought it would be, like, I thought they would actually have merchandise for the Stanley Parable 2. I'd totally buy that. You know what would be a funny idea? Are you guys pondering what I'm pondering? Because I'm thinking I'm in the mood to start a time paradox. Come on, Bucket John, let's go meet your beautiful twin sister, huh?
Wait, there are 2 buckets here. How did you get a second bucket? Oh no, the warmth and comfort of a single bucket is already so great, so intoxicatingly one. With 2 buckets, there's no telling. Stanley, can you still hear me? Are you with me?
Yes.
Stanley! Oh, thank God, I didn't lose you. Stanley, the power of 2 buckets was too much. I had to destroy both of them. I know how much the bucket meant to you, but I couldn't take the risk. I hope one day you can forgive me.
I will have my revenge. One day. Rest fucking assured. Let's move along before I get any more upset. I feel so naked without the bucket here. God. I feel like I want to just fucking jump in a hole. Just jump in a hole, fall forever. Well, that's convenient. Off we go, then. Down in a hole, and I don't know if I can be saved.
This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Sounds like a plan. Let's do it. Down in a hole. Out of control.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
I'd like to fly.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
But my wings have been so denied.
Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole.
Oh, no.
Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely?
Somebody who lost the love of his life.
As deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem.
Excuse you?
Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the whole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Let's see. How long can I stay down here until something happens? That's what I want to know. Cigarettes. So, fun fact. I hate tobacco. Absolutely despise it. Despise its smell. Despise the smoke. I just don't think it's pleasant. Which is kind of a problem because one of the mages, one of the chrono mages that I live with, that's how I made it to Earth, time mages, one of them has a smoking habit. It's about as unpleasant as you would expect. Okay, it would appear that there's absolutely nothing down here anymore, so...
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal
hey, who doesn't like
person
holes?
said,
Give me a
That's
break.
an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above.
I think I know what I'm doing.
Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do have so much... Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter.
Sure, that works. This hole...
Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge?
That's right.
You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
I mean, I shouldn't have to. I could easily vault over this in real life.
Is the, teleport button not working?
Yes, Una, it is very shallow.
You sure? Well, I mean...
Welcome, by the way.
I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago.
Ha ha.
Try it again.
Ha. Ha. Funny burr. Ha ha ha. Ha.
Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win.
If you'd like to hear more funny jokes like that, go check her out.
I get to do literally
She's a fellow
anything
VTuber, fellow
else.
streamer.
Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Okay, so apparently I discovered an ending by complete accident. Who would have guessed? So, I guess this is just how the story ends, is it? Yes, it was made for me. What? Excuse me? Well, look at this. Elevator going down. Can't say I like the music they're choosing, though. I see your logic, Faber. I'd be a lot more happy about this development if the music wasn't creeping me out. Look at this. I have a model. Look at that handsome fella. Look at that boy. Not the most flattering angle, but... yeah. I actually kind of dig this. Nice. Can you dig it? Blood Ocean. You know what? I dig this music even less than the original one. Huh? Okay, nope. I like this one better. So look at this. Look at that. Like I'm in a stop-motion movie or some shit.
Stanley! Stanley!
What?
Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there.
Okay, I didn't expect that.
Dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it.
Gee,
You don't
thanks.
want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle-pip.
Toodle pip. I have literally never heard that phrase before in my life. So let's see, how long is it going to take this time? Never mind. So, we're back here again, huh?
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Ah, that's right. They did say they fixed the achievement. Give me my achievement, game.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
Cool, gimme. Yeah, buddy.
As you can see, the machine is not working.
Got it.
Since... What? Wait. What in the holy hell is going on?
Yep.
You got the achievement?
Yep.
Why did the machine work? Stanley, I didn't fix it. I didn't do anything to it.
That's
I swear,
correct.
It was broken just a second ago. Who fixed it? Is someone here? Are we being watched? Oh, God.
Yes.
Composure. Composure. Yes, as you can see, the machine is working as normal, as I intended.
Sure, buddy.
It truly speaks to the awe-inspiring magic of the Stanley Parable 2. Breathe. Just breathe.
Alright. So, with that, I believe I've seen just about everything the game has to offer. As far as, Alright.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
I don't think I'll spare everybody. There's something else I'd actually like to do at the moment. Shit. Stream dipped a moment. Hope nothing too bad happened. Anyways, we're out of here. We outie. You want to see the rest of the exhibits for
All right.
yourself? Either
Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
you can just go ahead and either play the game yourself or go back and watch my VODs. Highly recommend.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single
They were
coherent video game,
interesting,
but
fascinating.
I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere.
I would say there
let's
was.
do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
I already know how this is going to work, but
Okay.
we can look.
Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
I mean, technically we're up to 3, but...
I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go.
Right.
Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game.
I would say you
wanted
did.
fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need
You
the
don't know
structure
that.
and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect.
Yep.
With care for the vision and integrity of the original.
So, spoilers, you've already been seeing that.
Possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, this is the Stanley Parable 2.
Paradox, we're already up to
Let me see
3.
if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Can't wait to see what Paradox... Nope, it just overrode it. So, I guess it really is that, then. So, yeah, I think I've exhausted everything about the, Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. That said, I don't think I'm quite done yet. I have a lot of new viewers today, and I think I need to show off to them. Because I don't just play games, no. As a matter of fact, that's not even my main thing as a virtual Twitch streamer or whatever. I was about to say virtual YouTuber, but we're not on YouTube. Who would want to go back to that site, in all honesty? But in any case, yeah, I'd say it was Deluxe. It was truly the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Fucking kill me. Anyways, I got something I want to show off. I am a music VTuber. I am a musician. And I think it's time that I showed you as such. Just to, really give you special thanks for checking me out for the first, time. I think it's time I showed you what I was actually about. Just give it a moment to boot. Come on. Don't keep us waiting. So, let's put it up. And... boom! Check it out. This is Reaper. This is a digital audio workstation. It's what I use to make music. That's right, I make music. Whether it's good or not is a matter of opinion, but it's what I do. It's my main thing as a virtual type person. So I'm going to go ahead and show it off real quick. Let's see here. Yes. Duh! So that's a 6/6 Samus for that. So... that said, I do mainly specialize in the rock and roll music. The heavy metals. So, let's see. Insert track from template. let's start with this. Each number 3 metal. Why not? Give it a second to load. Yes. Look at that. It's drums. That's not supposed to be there. Click, click, click. Boom, 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 boom. And I just realized I can't hear that, because I forgot to do a important part of setup. Because I wasn't expecting to open this today, silly me. So yeah, learn from me. Be ready for absolutely anything. So, if you'll give me a moment, now you should hear it. Beautiful sounding kid, isn't it? I think so. That said, I'm not ready to write a drum part yet. There's a couple of steps I want to do first. Let's see. Insert. There we go. Metal rhythm guitar bus. So yeah, there's the drums, but if you really want to rock, you need guitars. And that's what this plugin that's loading right now is for. It's pretty intensive, so of course it's going to take a moment to load, but there it is. Look at this. This is real 8. 8-string guitar. The real thing. A little slow, though. Let's bump it up to 150 beats per minute. So, I know what I'm going to do. Nothing too complicated, nothing too fancy. We'll save that for another time. So, new MIDI item. So, key snap. We're going to play in the key of E. Not for minor. There we go. However, these are just single notes. That's lame. Let's make them power chords. Let's put some power into these. Let's hear how it sounds. Perfect. Brilliant. So now, we just take a little bit of that, take this, copy it over here, because this is a critical function of this particular plugin. It allows you to do what's called double track them. If I click this button here, it's essentially like playing 2 guitars at once. Very common studio trick. Absolutely critical to getting big sounds. See? Doesn't that just sound so much more massive than just this? Now again, I implore you to compare and contrast. Fantastic. But of course, it sounds a little thin on its. It sounds a little thin on its own. So that's where this next little part comes in. Exactly, width, wider, As a matter of fact, I think this would be a good opportunity to do a little trick that I haven't done in a while. You know what I can do, just to make it that much more? Let's literally add a stereo widener to it. Why the hell not? See, I thought I was wide then. Compare and contrast. I don't know why I haven't used that in a bit. Maybe I just forgot about it. That's just what you tend to do when you have such an illustrious plugin collection as you do me. I could have worded that significantly better, but onwards and upwards. Now, bass guitar. You think it's useless? Think again. You need this shit. So, bring it down here. Delete everything up here, you don't need it. Let's see, I should probably note CC names, just so I can see the key switches. Where the fuck is it? Pardon me a moment. Pardon that. That was rather silly of me, but... Nice one, Faber. Fortunately, I am not Lars Ulrich. Although he's probably still a better drummer than I am. Why do you think I'm using software? Anyways, this is way too high. So let's bring it down. So let's see, Yep, everything is as it should be at the moment. Let's hear how it sounds together. Perfect. Nice and thick and meaty and all that good shit. So, let's find a drum part. I think we're just going to set over a bunch of fills. Why not? This doesn't need a proper drum part. It's basically just a jingle. Let's see. Library of the Extreme 3. 150. So... yeah, 170 shouldn't be that bad. Whoops, that's a lead-in. We want to stand alone. Whoops. And now we look for the endings. Let's see, there's one particular ending that this one. No, not that one, I should probably have remembered to bookmark it. That way I never have to do this again. It's literally just a crash and a kick together. Useful for absolutely anything. There we go. store that. And I don't particularly feel like, I think that's enough. Drag it over there. Hear how it all sounds together? Perfect, except... disregard that. Just about perfect. Welcome to the stream, Mathio. I don't know if I pronounced that right. And I just realized I never changed categories. That was awkward. And Electro Siba. I don't believe I've seen you around before, so welcome to the stream. Wait, no. Electro Siba. No, I think I know who you are now. Surprised you changed your name. Anyways. Yep. Figured as much. Figured it had to happen eventually. Anyways, one last thing I want to do. How about live on stream? I do this. That way I never have to do this again. Delay, lead, harmony. Perfect. Let's see. Spaceship delay. I love this delay. Preset, guitar, stereo lead guitar. Max out the mix. A little more of a high cut. And plug both of these tracks into it. And now I add 2 more instances of relate. But this time the singular versions. By default, the relevance of that will be apparent rather soon. And we'll just drag the other parts of the signal chain from there all the way over here. Copy the whole damn signal chain. And just paste it in here. So. I know what I'm going to do for this. We're going to do a little bit of a tapping. Insert new MIDI item. So, key snap. We start from C major chord, C major triad. That should be about right. So, 16th triplet. Whoops. A little too much space in between them. And something exceedingly silly. Key switches. That needs to come on. Never mind, that was already on. So let's see. This probably needs to come down an octave. And I need to load the names again. Let's see. Pardon me a moment. And we're back. So, tapping. Whoops. So for the sake of realism, we're going to make it like that. Sorry for the jump scare. Just, couldn't really help it. Now let's make sure it sounds alright. Perfect. C major triad. Let's see. We'll snap it back to E natural minor. Okay, so it's a D major chord. That's right. So snap to D major triad. Let's just select everything, because we can. Spare myself slightly more work. That's how I should turn snapping off just for a moment. Now, select this. Perfect. Now, last step. E major triad. Little subversion there. We're doing what's called the Mario cadence here. So yeah, you thought we were in minor? Surprise, we're ending it on a major chord. And because we're doing 2 measures of A major, we'll just select it all and copy it over again perfectly. That was a funny noise. Try not to mind it. And there we go, there's our lead line. That probably needs to sustain a little more. Perfect. So now we just take this. First of all, gotta remember to pan this. We'll go a little nuts. Since we're full panning these, this is not something I usually do. I usually drag that back on to 90. But we're doing something quick and dirty, so I decided, fuck it. We'll do 100. Which means the leads will be panned to 50 each. Another thing I don't usually do. But such is life when you're, sort of speeding along. Alright, so, little bit of a harmony hack here. E natural minor, so, select these. So, usually when I do this, I start from the lowest note. Just take this, bring it 2 notes lower. Do the same here. And now switch to major so that we can fix these the correct way. Let's hear how it sounds. Pretty nice. Let's see how it sits actually in the mix. A little loud, obviously. Shit. And there we go. That's... shit, I did it again. It's like things all over the place. So, there we go. Not bad for, 15 or so minutes of work, right? And even better, I showed the new viewers what this was about. So, yeah, for the regulars of mine just joining me, I got raided by somebody brand new today, just now. And they brought a good number of new viewers, and I thought it was good. I thought it was a good idea to show them what they can expect from a more traditional stream of mine. Because it also occurred to me that I haven't done a music stream in quite some time, so... again, just nothing but good ideas all around. Let's listen again. Welcome to the stream, Ryker. Unfortunately, we're actually just about to wrap up here. Because, I finished a jingle I wanted to make for my new viewer. Finished the jingle I wanted to make for my new viewers, and also I ended up, completing, more or less clearing the Stanley Parable. So, that was basically everything I wanted to accomplish today. That said, maybe I can show... maybe there's one more thing I can talk about. So there's one more thing. That's fine, that's fine. It was a pleasure having you along as briefly as it was anyways. Yeah. I suppose we are calling it a bit of a stream there, but there is one thing I wanted to talk about. Possibly out of nowhere, but I don't know, just something I've wanted, something has been on my mind for the last few days, and I'm just wondering if I should, I need to get it off my chest, so to speak. It's something that's, whoops, should probably turn this on. But yeah, just something that's been on my mind that's been sort of, weighing on me a bit. I need to talk about it to somebody before it drives me insane. Have any of you ever gotten a bit of a premonition? Just the vague idea that something very life-altering is about to happen to you. You don't know exactly what it is, what's going to happen, but you just know that it's going to change you in a very deep way. Not necessarily deja vu, just sort of a prediction. Like you're just getting a vision of the future, so to speak. You just get the feeling that something is going to happen. That's something that could be bad, or like... Okay, so I'm gonna be a little more specific then. Just, I get the, like, I'm getting a feeling that something is going to happen to me that is going to make what used to be something inaccurate. Like, fantasy is about to turn into reality, is the easiest way I can put it. There's something, a little trend I've been noticing in artwork of me lately that is technically inaccurate to how I look now, but I get the bad feeling that life is about to correct itself, so to speak. That something is going to happen that will turn an inaccuracy into reality. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe if I give you something of a visual example. If you'll give me a moment to pull up my Twitter page. That's usually the quickest way to get to it. I mean, it might be a good, thing, might be a bad thing. So, let me pull it up, just to show you what I'm talking about. If you'll give me a moment, there we go. Alright, so we'll show it off real quick. So I guess we'll call it a fan art corner as well, apropos of nothing. But trust me, there's a point to this. So let me pull it up. This screen right here. There it goes. So yes, this is my latest commission, actually. Well, something I commissioned, I should say. I don't do art commissions. I do not have quite that much talent, but in any case, so if you saw last night, I did my little silly fighting game palette project again, but I needed artwork to actually base it on, so I hit up Lou again. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and get the link to this as well. Very quickly. So yes, there's the art, and I'll shout Lou out as well. Because he is a fantastic drummer as well as a great artist. So, if I pull it up again, just take another moment, soak it in, just look at the artwork, enjoy it for a moment. Yes, wonderful art, I would say. But that's not the only one I wanted to show off. I also wanted to show off a bit of an older piece by my live-to-be papa, Calavera. So it's sort of stretching the definition of fan art, but I'm making a point here. So I'll just show off the whole thing, because he drew a bunch of people at one point for one of those silly memes sort of things. So yes, here's the whole thing, the macro look. The sillier looking ones were probably at the behest of the actual artist, but, I mean, the actual subject, but he decided to make me look cool. Very cool. That should look familiar because it's actually my current Twitter profile picture. So, let's go ahead and zoom in on that, shall we? Give it a little macro look. See, there you go. Little closer look. Easily some of the most badass art I have of me. However, these two pieces of artwork, they have something in common that at least one of you has already noticed. So, this is actually my papa's initiative, by the way. So yes, enough playing coy. We're talking about the scar on my face. So as you'll notice, I do not have a scar on my face. That said, it does look really cool, but I don't know if, I don't know, I'm just getting a bad vibe. Like, I get a bad feeling. Like, something tells me the universe is going to correct itself a bit, because the thing is, I just look so right with a scar, despite the fact that I've technically never been in battle. I don't fight. They keep me off of the front line. That's the whole point of me being a general. Desk jobs, military desk jobs. And yet, I don't know, I get the feeling. I've just got a really, really bad feeling that the universe is going to correct itself somewhat. Like, this is how I was supposed to look. Problem is, I don't know. Like, for obvious reasons, I don't like being hurt. I don't like being put through pain. Does anyone really do? But I just get the fucking awful feeling. I'm just getting the fucking heebie-jeebies here. That the universe doesn't care about my pain or suffering or any of that. Well, not even the Mandela effect. Then again, the Mandela effect is pretty close to me. I believe, if I recall correctly, that is how the Chrono Mages actually got me to this fine universe in the first place. That was apparently their way of, one of their ways of, the most effective way of time traveling, so to speak. Just the most effective way they found. But back on subject, I just get the feeling. I just have a bad feeling. I'm fine just being perfectly baby-faced and scarless. But I get the feeling the universe does not care. I just get the awful feeling that it's going to do something to me. To correct itself, so to speak. To make it so that this is not just fantasy anymore, that this is reality. But who's to say? Maybe I'm just being silly. Maybe I'm just being paranoid for no good reason. Mayhaps it will just not actually happen that way. Maybe I'm just worrying over nothing. This could just be me being an excessive worrywart. Let's hope that's the way, huh? But only time will tell, I guess. I don't know. I'm feeling weirded out. I'm feeling excessively weirded out. I need a moment myself. So I think we're gonna call it a day here. So that'll do it. I don't know. I'm just feeling really fucking weird. I just need to call it a day. I need a breather. I need some fresh air. I need to stop thinking about this. So, that's that. So, we are calling it a day here. So, thank you all for coming, especially to the new viewers. Any new viewers who stuck around from the raid. Really appreciate that. That was incredibly generous of you to just go ahead and check me out. Really appreciate it. And I hope that we'll be able to see each other again real soon as well. I don't have next week scheduled out. I don't know what's happening yet. Then again, this is assuming I don't just take a break next week, because I have music projects I need to work on, and I'm considering just taking the next week off so I can just focus on music, but I'm not decided yet. I'm hardly decided yet. I don't know if that's the right call quite yet. It's a good thing I got a couple of days to think about it, huh? But yeah, that's enough of that. I need to go lie down. So, I know who we're gonna raid. I think we're gonna pass it off. There's somebody that I just met not too long ago named Ama Occultus. They're somebody that, at least for my money, has more or less come out of nowhere, but apparently we have quite a few mutuals in common. So we say hello to her. So yes, that'll do it for today. Thank you all very much. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for attending. Thank you very much for the raid. Thank you, Ori Lamori, for the raid. That was really cool of you to do. And to anybody who decided to stick around from their raid, much appreciated, and I hope to see you again. So yes, that'll do it for the day. Thank you all very much. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate it a bunch. Hope you enjoyed the quick little song I whipped up. The more or less ending to the Stanley Parable. As much as you can call a game like that finished. I don't know. My brain's already bent enough as it is. I'm gonna spare myself. Thank you all very much again. Have a good rest of your day, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you all at some point later on. And until then, take it easy. Let's go say hello to Emma.